Hello, everybody. This is Eric Virathaler of the next episode of Sit Down by the Fire. I am I'm here with Junebug Films yet again, who hasn't been on a while. So welcome back, and we're here with our next uh, returning special guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Melanie Wendt. I am an actress, writer, director out of Montana, and I am so excited to be back here.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for taking time out of your day to come back on and yeah, we certainly greatly do appreciate it.
Of course.
But yeah, certainly. Well, usually I'm the one who asks the first questions, but since this is Junebug's return, how about that we
Oh,
mix things up?
Yeah, go for it.
all right. Well, I just wanted to come back because I saw the first interview and I thought she has some talent. And
Oh,
hey,
thanks.
hey, I'm flirting with a married woman here, but she is pretty. So,
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
and but I guess what what are some films that really like make that like that? If we're talking to little 5-year-old Melanie, what are some films that inspired her to
Oh
become an actor?
gosh. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I probably saw films as a 5-year-old that most 5-year-olds shouldn't have seen. But I do remember when I was about 2 or 3, the one with Brad Pitt that now I'm gonna blank on. Wow, embarrassing. The where not Where the Wind Blows. That's the one that I was just in. That's one where they keep gonna jump to name. But it was one of his earlier films, and my mom likes to tell this story where I would just jump up and stare at the screen every time he was on there. And it's just, I guess I've been a Brad Pitt fan since I was way too young. But honestly, some of the earliest films that stick out as really monumental to me and encouraging me to kind of pursue my dreams was Clockwork Orange, which is kind of a weird one. But honestly, as far as just out of the way, just cinematic masterpieces. Honestly, that's one that really sticks out. I think I saw that one when I was 7, which is way too young
Wow.
for Clockwork Orange. But
Yeah, definitely.
I will say my parents, my whole family are both cinephiles through and through. So Oscar night was kind of bigger than the Super Bowl in my house. So they would sit down and be like, all right, we're going to look at this from a filmmaker's point of view. We're going to look at the costuming and the story behind it. And so I honestly have probably been dissecting films since I was probably 4 or 5. So
Wow.
yeah, that is one that sticks out is super monumental. The Lord of the Rings trilogy, seeing that in theaters as they came out,
Oh yeah.
the cinematography in those films
Oh,
absolutely
definitely.
mind blowing, so
That's-
beautiful. Um, there honestly, I could probably name movies off the top of my head for the rest of my life. Phantom of the Opera, I saw that on stage as an opera first, but then the retelling of them through the movie was so well done. I thought the how they were able to take it and still get everything on film. There's quite a few that kind of stick out.
So yeah, so about Phantom of the Opera, there's so many film versions. I'm assuming that you mean the one that came out in 2004, right?
Yeah, the one with Gerard Butler. That
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
absolutely phenomenal, and that guy can sing.
Oh,
Good.
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, going back to Lord of the Rings, it's look, I get it, it's a masterpiece, but I just can't help but laugh at it now, especially considering that I've seen the South Park episode, and
Oh
so
gosh,
therefore I just can't take it seriously anymore. I'm sorry, I just
Well,
can't.
no, I totally feel that. But that's one thing I think about art is cool too, is that you can look at the real and then look at the things that make fun of it and appreciate both of them. I
Yeah.
love South Park. I know a
oh
lot of
yeah.
people find it too offensive lately, but I love it.
I mean, I don't know. I like it because they make fun of everything, and plus, I can watch both because you know it's one of the things being a classic movie fan. I want to say my favorite movies something you know something from the 1930s or something, but no, I have to say my favorite movies of all time are the Lord of the Rings, and it's just I consider them all just one big movie.
Oh yeah,
So
no, they're just one continuous. That's the only way to watch them too. You have to watch all 3 of them in one sitting, or else.
Certainly, yeah.
yeah, but no, they are. Peter Jackson, can you make movies like that again rather than
Sure.
the document? I love the documentaries, but please make movies.
Yeah, let's bring up some the old school movies. That'd be
Um,
nice.
but no, and I also thought, I was telling this Eric that you have a very old Hollywood look. I feel like.
Yeah, I have heard that quite a lot, and I kind of am trying to embrace that more. I do love golden age of Hollywood. Like one of my dreams is to be in like an old school noir, like film noir, murder mystery type film. I think that would be so cool. I love that medium of film.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you. I do appreciate that. I've heard that a lot. That I have the old
I said,
school kind
I
of
said,
golden.
she's like a tall Marilyn Monroe.
Thank you. Maybe I'll have to do that for Halloween.
Oh yeah,
That'll be fun.
That'd be cool.
should. And yeah, and one of the things that I was gonna say, after the first interview that we did, you were telling me like about how people told you your whole life that you will never have a film career because you're in Montana. I'm a so, and therefore, go find a real dream. But what I love about you, what I find so inspirational about you, like is the fact that you didn't take that as an answer, and I mean, like, considering that you went out and you did it anyway, and and to look at how far you come, and I mean, you were in Somewhere in Montana, and that's coming out to theaters in January.
Yes.
You were in Nexus of Evil, and you were in all these other projects, and also, what I also love about your husband, even though I haven't met him, I mean, from what you told me, like how he works like a 12-hour shift, like, just to help, you support your dream. And I mean, I haven't met him, but that right there says a lot about him.
Oh, well, hands down. And I will always talk nothing but good things about my husband, because seriously, from day one, he has been supportive of everything about me. Even when I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with my life, he knew that he would still stick around while I figured it out. And this man busts his butt to provide stability. He's still like a really involved father. Like every time there's a sports game or Halloween, trick-or-treating, he's there. Like he's with our kids. He's doing all this stuff. So like it makes a massive difference.
Well, Eric, I think we should give him a round of applause, because that, he's, I mean, to be a, that's not unfortunate. There's not a lot of good guys out there, and you got really lucky. So
I did. I count my lucky stars every day. 13 years of nothing but happiness, and I cannot wait for the rest of eternity with him.
Certainly. And so, I guess out of curiosity, what exactly was it that made you go, you know what? Screw all these people tell me that I can't do it in Montana. I'm gonna go do it anyway.
I had kind of just reached a dead end with the degrees I had been trying at the time. College wasn't working out for me, trying to do like the normal day job thing. All of my other day jobs that I found just weren't making me happy. And it came time where I quit one of my day jobs because the manager was just like, not necessarily being inappropriate, but like pushing like the boundaries between professional and personal. Like he would call me on my days off just to chat, and was kind of getting to like that point of like not really comfortable there. So I went in, I quit. I was like really feeling my feels that day, and I kind of sat in the car. I'm like, I have not been happy since like in my career, since I was on stage, since I was, actually doing things to further my creative degree. So I sat in my car and I'm like, fuck it. I'm not going to accept another day job until I get a paying acting gig. I realize now that was kind of like a little short-sighted. Your first gigs aren't going to pay you a shit ton, but it was kind of as soon as I started putting that energy out there, like I want to act, I want to get back into this, like this is what makes me happy as far as like a career, I want to do this. And I don't know if it was manifestation or just putting that energy into the universe, but then I got a posting on Facebook about a acting modeling agency in Billings that was taking open casting calls. And I kind of took that as all right, universe heard me, universe is helping. So I'm just going to kind of follow this through. And I went to the casting call. I got booked with the agent. That was in November of 2019. And by the time August of 2020 rolled around, now I know like 2020 has its own special rules that we all played by, but I had booked Nexus of Evil by August. And so honestly, it was kind of like, this is what I want to do. I'm gonna freaking do it. And honestly, as soon as I put that out there, the opportunities just started popping up. And I honestly sorry, my dogs are barking. I probably have one of the worst cases of imposter syndrome ever. So like, I didn't believe that I was booking these things or that people actually liked me. And it's kind of just been that, I guess we're just going to follow where the universe takes us. And it's been taking us to a lot of fun gigs. So very happy.
Well, it sounds, Eric, it sounds like she had her $56 moment, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, this is a story that I told, Ty here. I mean, I definitely relate completely how you feel. I mean, I was working that regular, 9 to 5
Excuse
job,
me.
and I was very unhappy with it, and but yeah, and I wasn't treated the best, and then ultimately the final straw for me was their last paycheck to me was only $56.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's not okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I tried telling them, look, I can't survive off of this, but it felt like I was trying to teach a cat how to sing amazing, like how to sing Amazing Grace.
Yeah,
It
they just don't listen. They don't listen. They don't care. They really
Well,
don't.
Exactly. And then it was after that I said, you know what, screw this. I'm gonna go do what I want now. And it's really funny about how you mentioned like your talent agency because I actually was trying to get into NAS talent management. And then one day I got curious and I was just wanting to, just see like actors who were a part of NAS talent management. And so I just typed it in on Facebook in the search bar, and you honestly were the very first one who
Oh, that's
popped
so
up.
cool. I like that. Oh, that's good. I'm glad that I can be kind of a face for that. Jenny, my agent now, the one through now, she's awesome. She really is good about like, especially taking someone who wants to but doesn't quite know how to, and helping them step by step on how to like get your auditions in, how to self-tape properly, how to like get noticed and make good connections. So she's really good at like that kind of being that first like initial agent.
Oh yeah. Certainly so. And yeah, and then I found your profile and then I checked it out. I was like, you know what? This girl definitely seems like to have like a lot of talent. And so yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think when I even saw the person, I could sit there and see the talent immediately because like like, yeah, she's, you're very, I mean, you said you get stereotyped as the bar girl in the westerns, but I mean, look, I
With
mean,
it.
look, I mean, hey, uh, you definitely have the verisimilitude with that. I buy it, so because
Yep.
and who knows? I know a lot of westerns are filmed up there in Montana. You guys, who knows? Maybe at some point she'll be. I don't think they film it there anymore, but maybe she'll be on Yellowstone.
Yeah, I had
19.
a couple auditions for Yellowstone. The one I was really excited for was actually opposite Beth in a bar fight scene, and I was really excited for it. Great audition. But since Beth is blonde and I'm blonde, they went with a different hair colored lady, and that honestly is kind of the story of my life. Great auditions, just not quite the part, but it's great. It's fun.
Well,
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I've had that happen quite a bit. I mean, there have been some roles that I didn't get because of my long hair,
Mm-hmm.
but there were some roles that I got because of my long hair. So
Exactly. It's
it's fun.
whatever works works. There was one audition I was really like into. It was about someone who was accused of witchcraft being hanged at the gallows. And I love the audition. It was awesome. I got great feedback on it, but they had built the gallows for someone 5'6" or shorter, and I am 5'11", so there is no way that was gonna work.
um, oh come on, camera angles, they could make it work.
Yeah, but like that's seriously like the stuff that goes into casting. They can love the auditions, and it's
I,
just like
I,
smallest thing.
well, let me look at Arnold for an example. They said that your body's too big, your accent doesn't work, and
And now
then
he
and
loved acting all time.
yeah, now he says that he didn't care. He said he went for it. So
And also people even told him that his last name like was too hard to pronounce. But nowadays you will never meet anybody who doesn't know how to say his last name. And that's something that I can relate to because I've had to explain to people how to pronounce my last name throughout my entire life. So
well,
Oh, I'm
even my name. I mean Nyberg, which is a fairly simple one to pronounce. Nyberg. It's
I
I've
still
got.
get Melanie. I mean, I think I have a pretty white girl name, but I still get Melanie all the time. So
Man,
well, that's surprising because when I first saw you pop up on Facebook, I instantly knew how to pronounce your name. So I'm surprised that some people said it that way. But hey, different strokes
yeah,
for
yeah,
different
I mean,
folks.
happens.
maybe they need to go back to first grade because there's not a, it's an
No,
E. Yeah.
It happens, though. I mean, honestly, like you said, with names, it's just one of those things. You're just gonna have to correct people no matter where you go.
Exactly. And that was why at one point I even thought about changing my last name because I got so tired of telling people how to pronounce it and spell it. But then I figured, it's just not worth it to go through all that work for the paperwork and paying for it. Then I was like, screw it.
Well, and I forget which actor said it, but they were, some problems, people couldn't pronounce their name. And they're quoted as saying their mother says, if people can learn to say Tchaikovsky, they can learn to say anything, which is very true. Like,
Yep.
I think some of the biggest artists of our time, or even, classical artists, Mozart, Beethoven, those aren't exactly easy things to pronounce, but we know how to say them because we've heard them so much. Just got to make yourself heard.
Yeah, to think that, Mozart and Beethoven, we still know who they are, and yet they don't have any members of their family left. So
Exactly. That's legacy.
well, that's the meaning to life, legacy.
Right?
Certainly,
Wouldn't it be cool though if you're taking like an ancestry test and you find out you are like the great 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 granddaughter or whatever of Mozart? Like I would ride that the whole time.
Certainly, yeah.
Oh,
That would be so cool.
well, I mean, I mean, even my family has some interesting legacy when it comes to entertainment. I'm related to Loretta Lynn, or no,
Oh,
no, no, not Loretta Lynn, not Lynn, not Loretta Lynn, the opera singer, the Swedish Nightingale.
oh,
Lynn.
that's even cooler. I love a good opera.
Yeah, well, I'm related to her. I'm also related to Gordon McRae from Oklahoma.
Wow. That's
So,
pretty cool. My
and then,
closest, my grandfather was in a couple scenes of Lonesome Dove and Don't Come Knocking. He was kind of like the first actor of my family.
well, I, and then one of the, and hey, Eric, I'm just making a statement here. That I guess one of the unfortunate people I'm related to is Nixon. So,
I mean, hey, history's history. Can't change who you're related to.
yeah.
Definitely can't. But yeah, I mean, I can only imagine being somebody who's related to somebody like Jeffrey Dahmer and all the stigma around that.
That's when I probably would change my last name. If I was a Dahmer, I would probably no longer want to be a
Well,
Dahmer.
Yeah, that would be justifiable.
Yeah,
even his own brother did that. So,
see, don't blame him.
I don't either.
well, I mean, it could be worse.
What
I mean,
worse than Dahmer?
Hitler.
Fair.
True.
Yeah. So if your last name is that, you should probably change it. So.
Most would have by this time. Would assume, anyways.
Definitely, yeah. Oh, ouch. Yeah, nobody would want to go around with that kind of last name, which is funny because I think it was when we interviewed Lynn Lugosi, Ty. I think it was when Lynn said that when her, Sarah Karloff, and Ron Chaney all went to a restaurant, and then how like the waiter said, "Okay, I'm ready for Karloff, Lugosi, and Chaney," and then how everybody in the restaurant, and then immediately like turn their heads like, "Oh, those are some pretty big names."
Yeah, those are names that we know. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
To be
yeah,
fair.
and I mean, it goes to show, like, just the kind of legacy that a last name can have.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, well, look at. I mean, to be fair, Bela Lugosi had an awesome original name. His last name was Blasco.
That's even cooler. Although Bela Lugosi is such like you know that name. You can't not know that name.
Well, yeah, I said that Blasco sounds like a really bad '80s action movie name.
One of the sodas like Tab Blasco.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. And I mean, just whenever people hear the name Dracula or whenever they hear even the word vampire, the first thing that comes to mind, like, is not the book version, like, of Dracula, but it's the Lugosi one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with like the widow's peak and the accent. I mean,
Yeah, like that is kind of the stereotypical Dracula. Like if you had to picture it.
And Lynn said,
Well, also nowadays you also have people who think of Robert Pattinson, but from what I heard, even Robert Pattinson even said that he is not a fan of Twilight
Oh
either.
yeah, no. Listening to him bash on Twilight is one of my favorite like guilty pleasures. Like listen, like
Same.
all of them honestly at this point.
Well, at this point, it is funny though to make fun of it a little bit because it's like, hey, that's the one disappointment I had when he was Batman. He didn't glitter. I mean, come on. I like the movie, but like, can we have some actual like colors in the movie? You know?
No, it's a DC movie. We don't get colors in those.
Oh yeah,
Well,
no.
well, until the James Gunn Superman comes out, because apparently they're going to go with more of the Guardians of the Galaxy route. It's because they think that that's going to sell more, which I get it. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy numbers talk.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you know, I mean, and
I think we're all kind of getting burnt out on the superhero universe thing. Like, there's
oh,
just so much. I'm so far behind on Marvel, and I'm a Marvel girly through and through, but there's just so much anymore to try and get into before you can even watch any of it. You have to know the rest of it. And
Yep,
well,
and just how busy I've been, I don't have as much time to watch movies as I used to, which sucks. It's because I love movies, but welcome to the adult life.
yeah, welcome to like working in the industry. You don't actually get to watch anything.
well, yeah, and speaking of that, though, we talked about names earlier. You talked about a guy who has an interesting name for the new Superman, Corn Sweat. I'm not making fun of his name, but it's like very very interesting.
Interesting name. I hadn't heard he'd been cast. Huh.
Yeah, and honestly, I did not ever hear of him. But hey, I mean, the same thing happened with Henry Cavill and Christopher Reeve, which I think that actually helps, knowing that you don't know who they are prior. And what matters, do they have that Superman look for them?
Well, I'm totally behind hiring or casting people who haven't been able to make a name for themselves yet, because like you kind of said, it gives them, them then as this new role and not as the other roles that they've played or as the actor themselves. So it kind of gives them more freedom to completely envelop the role or completely turn themselves into that character for the first time. Like,
Well,
he gets to, be known as Superman for a while then. That'd be cool.
well, it kind of goes back to, Christopher Reeve was an unknown. I mean, he was just a Juilliard graduate, and they were looking at some big names. I think Arnold auditioned to play Superman, which would be interesting.
He's a little old for that one now, but
I don't know. That one would just be very interesting.
yeah.
I know even Sylvester Stallone campaigned for the role, but it's like I could kind of see it, but he's a little short to play Superman.
Sylvester Stallone as Superman, I just don't see it.
I couldn't see that. No.
And then like I think Kurt Russell auditioned, which maybe
Oh,
yeah. And then
Fun maybe, but Kurt again, they're all a little bit more on the father of Superman side.
well, and then the other one the other one was who auditioned at that time was Sam Elliott, which that one would have been
Sam Elliott?
I love Sam.
That one would have been interesting, but I'm just like I don't know. Christopher Reeve, I mean, he's basically the Bela Lugosi of Superman. When you think of Superman, you think of Christopher Reeve. To the point where Eric has to sit there and like really tell us that he really thinks Christopher Reeve is Superman.
Well, the more was because my camera got out of focus, but I guess that was inadvertent.
Really into it.
But yeah, and
really leaned into that one, dude.
And yeah, but yeah, I guess that you could say it was pretty super.
Man,
look at you, so wonderful, huh?
But yeah, one of the things that I thought was cringe was in Superman 4, how Nuclear Man had those long fingernails.
Yeah.
Like, that was cringe.
To think. Well, hey, I mean, proves that maybe not anybody can just be an actor. You know what that guy's former job was, right?
What?
Chippendales dancer.
But
and
yeah,
he got an opportunity to be in a movie, and then he never acted again.
I can see why, but
One
yeah,
minute.
I guess you could say with those long nails he had, I guess he sure nailed it.
Um,
That's funny.
but
Yeah, no wonder why that there wasn't a Superman movie again for like 20 years. No wonder why.
Yeah.
I really need to see that Christopher Reeve documentary though. That just came
Yeah,
out.
and I feel old knowing that Christopher Reeve died 20 years ago now. I mean, I was in the fourth grade when that happened, and I will not forget that my fourth grade teacher like was reading a newspaper article to all of us about it.
Oh.
I remember my dad. It's one of those things you never see your dad like. There's key moments, in your life where you sit there and see your dad cry a little bit. I actually saw my dad shed a tear when Christopher Reeve died.
Oh.
Well, I think it's just one of those things, as my dad's he's always been a movie fan, but I think he never really had the inspiration to be an actor. But, you know, he, it's like one of those things, there's people, it's weird when we have that happen, there's like we don't know the people or anything, but like for whatever reason, as kids, we just like think
Oh.
of the heroes and everything. And then when they hear that, oh, and plus Christopher Reeve, like what I think why he will never, why nobody will ever, I mean, unless proven otherwise, nobody will ever sit there and say, oh, this guy's Superman versus Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve, after his accident, became Superman, basically.
Pretty much.
You
Like
know,
kind of embodied that whole mind or like that whole persona for a while. Like he was that for so many.
Certainly,
mhm.
yeah. And
Well,
and that's what I find is so inspirational about him is that knowing that he overcame all that. It's like, granted, I mean, it sucks that he died, and yeah, and about the whole crying over his death. I mean, that's how I felt about. Excuse me. I mean, even recently, like with James Earl Jones. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that's how I felt with James Earl Jones. I mean, considering that I named my own dog Simba. And then Lion King has a very special place in my heart. And I mean, it has my whole entire life. And so when James Earl Jones died, it felt like that part of my childhood vanished.
That's
well, I
how
mean,
I was when Alan Rickman died. Losing him and Carrie Fisher within like weeks of each other tore me apart. Like he was one of the first actors I ever heard about that wasn't an actor for a good part of their life. Like he started when he was in his 40s after being a teacher for however long. Like he encouraged me in that. So having him die so young, it ripped me apart. And then Carrie Fisher, like I grew up with Princess Leia. Like she was Space Mom for so long. And then having her just die in such a tragic way, like tore me apart.
and then her, yeah, and then you think about it, her mother died like a day apart of a broken heart.
A broken heart, which is even sadder because like she grew up watching her mom on stage and then her mom loses her baby and like I think I
Well,
just sobbed for 3 days straight.
well, I felt the same way with, I mean, Robin Williams, just
Yeah.
tragic that.
On
And
my
then,
birthday.
And I feel
hey,
old knowing that Robin died 10 years ago now.
yeah, hey,
Yeah.
hey, I mean, Sean Connery died on my birthday, so.
Yeah, there's just so many sad
And
deaths.
then the one that the one
Thanks.
the one that really impacted me was Eddie Van Halen being a
Yeah.
being somewhat of, being somewhat of a guitar player. I mean, I can strum really good, but not
He went on
not play.
TV.
But no. Anyway, Eric, let's shut up with this conversation. We're talking about death. Come on, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, like now it's starting to get kind of sad and depressing. And so how about that we move along to something a little bit more positive. And yeah, and but yeah, but yeah, Ty here actually brought up a really good point, like how he actually can see you like being like one of the girls in like in in one of like the James Bond movies.
That would be fun. I've always loved like the femme fatale type girl in movies. I think that'd be so cool. Or like a
Well,
Charlie's Angels boot. That'd be fun.
I mean, hey, who knows what they're going to do with James Bond next after No Time to Lie? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, I'm
There's so
sorry. No time. I'm sorry. No Time to Die. Or
there's so many ways I could take it. It's kind of interesting to be at like the turning point of certain franchises to see where they go with it.
well,
Yeah, like I mean, of course, everyone has heard the rumor about Idris Elba being James Bond. I mean, I can see it.
I'd be okay with that.
um,
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying it should also be Henry Cavill, which
I can
I
see
mean,
that.
yeah, which and I mean, it would be his second chance considering that he almost was going to be James Bond in Casino Royale.
I well, I mean, I like the. I'm going to be the odd guy here. Because I'm a huge fan of the books. It, Ian Fleming created a Scottish character. Yes, he became Scottish after Sean Connery, but he was based on Cary Grant and Hoagie Carmichael. So I feel like now I'm completely fine with Idris Elba maybe like making it a buddy movie, and like he teams up with another 00 agent, but not 007. If that makes sense.
I could see that. I can respect that, especially with
Because
a real
you
person.
know, I think here's my thing too. It's even if you cast him, and I'm not saying I think he would be great for the part, but you're going to get those just. It's like, why would you cast somebody? Because you're going to get it's just you're going to open the doors for the idiots on the internet. You know what I mean?
That's very fair. Like you said,
And
especially when it's based off of like a real person in history, kind of should try maybe stay a little bit more accurate.
mhm.
Certainly, yeah.
So, but that being said, though, I mean, Eric, we already know who I think should be the next James Bond, and he's an unknown, but
Which is
and
funny because he also was on this podcast. Nikolai Leon, who was Christopher Robin in the Winnie the Pooh horror movie. Yeah, and yeah, him and I talk pretty much almost every day. And someone else saw this podcast, and they also even said the same thing. Even they said, yeah. I mean, him as James Bond, it could work.
That would be cool.
then, well, if that happens, then maybe she could play the Bond girl.
I'll be the Bond girl. I can do that.
But yeah, and I mean, say if that does happen, little would anybody know that somebody went from a Winnie the Pooh horror movie to being James Bond.
Well, look where Sean Connery.
Like
Look where
as a
Sean Connery was.
I die for those stories. Like Leprechaun, Jennifer Aniston starting out in Leprechaun and going on to be who she is now. Love that. Jamie Lee starting in Halloween, being who she is now. Freaking love it.
Well,
Those
look
are
at even Sean Connery has a similar story.
great.
Oh yeah.
Well, he started out. He was, in the movie Darby O'Gill and the Little People, which very
Love
interesting,
that movie. It was such a
very very interesting movie. He was a Tarzan villain, and then he had to leave England for a while. Very
reasons.
well, no, yes. I don't know if anybody knows this story, but he was dating Lana Turner at the time, who was also dating a mobster.
Funny, like tie into that. I actually just got the news that short film that I was in called Lana Turner's Eyes just finished and is going to be in short film circuits here pretty soon. And I got a
Awesome.
poster of it, and it is beautiful. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to bring that up.
No
Awesome.
problem. I totally planned that.
So out of curiosity, so do you know if it's going to go on Tubi eventually or Roku or what?
I think the plan right now is just to get it into a couple festivals and see if there's any like interest in picking it up or making it bigger. But as if I find out it's going to stream anywhere, I'll let everyone know for sure.
Okay, awesome. And there's also one way how I heard that you could do it. I mean, with the movie, there was that really bad Birds ripoff. I think it was called Birdemic. From what I heard, the guy who made that movie, the way how he found somebody to pick it up is that he just drove around in his car, and then he had like flyers around his car, and and he had all this promotion on his car. He was just driving around, and then somebody just happened to have spotted it, and then that's how he found somebody to pick up his movie. I don't know if you've ever heard of Birdemic. It's pretty bad.
I mean, I've been in some bad films, so that's okay. Lana Turner's
Yeah.
Eyes Out. It's about 15 minutes. It's so good. I'm gonna give a shout out to the main actress in it, Tasha Gates. She's actually one of my really good friends too. Like, I've gotten the privilege to work with her on a few things now, and girl's good. Like, she's got it. She is very talented, very sweet, very kind-hearted woman. So I'm gonna give her a little shout out there.
Well, there you
Awesome.
go. Well, there you go, Eric. There's your next interview.
There, I mean, yeah, I'm sure she'd be down. She's pretty into fun things. She was in Somewhere in Montana too, so
Yeah,
Well,
which is funny that you mentioned her because I actually did send her like a message, asking her to come on. But I mean, she has not yet responded yet. So
I'll give her a nudge. I'm sure, she's inundated with a lot of stuff like we all are. So, it's
yeah,
kind of
probably yeah.
about the spam and the not. But I'll give her a nudge, let her know that it's legit.
but
Okay.
anyway, well, getting back to the whole Sean Connery story. So the mobster then comes in because, I mean, Sean Connery is dating Lana Turner. The mobster goes in. Johnny Stefano is his name. He goes in and starts to say, "Hey, what are you doing?" Next thing you know, her daughter comes in and stabs Johnny in the back, literally with a knife, kills him.
I mean,
And Sean Connery, you know, was actually had a mob hit on him because they were looking for him. So
that's
he had
actually badass.
he had to flee to England, and then 5 years later he got James Bond. So,
That's
but
really
no,
funny.
I love that story though because it's like, wow, that daughter takes a lot of guts, you know.
Yeah.
I love hearing stories like that when you find out actors really just do the acting for fun and their real lives are just freaking insane. Like Christopher Lee, dude did all
Oh,
the side quests he possibly could. Like, I love
mm-hmm.
his story being, heavy metal band, actually knowing what it is to get stabbed, and those are fun things. Or finding out Adam Driver is actually just a military guy who likes to play actor when he can. Those are fun. I
Oh
love his.
wow. I
Yeah,
actually
he
did not
he
know that.
was either like, I think it was on a TED Talk actually talking about the importance of art, and he goes on a little bit of a, not a tangent, but like a monologue, about how it was when he was in the service and a bunch of his friends and him got together and like acted out little bits that he realized like this is important. Like, we kind of need art, especially when our mental health might not be that great. We kind of need this creative outlet. I'll send you the link. It's like a very intelligent. He's very well spoken, and hearing all how his take on art and mental health was very fascinating.
Well, look, getting back to
Interesting.
Lord of the Rings. Look at J.R.R. Tolkien, literally in the trenches in World War
Oh yeah.
One, and then he wrote what was the Silmarillion, but then kind of that's when the whole journey of Middle Earth started and created this. I mean, he spent what he basically had the rest of his life developing this world. You
Mhm.
know, I mean,
Whole languages, whole histories, like
mm-hmm.
absolutely.
And
Yeah, and and even the story like about Jim Carrey. I mean, considering that his father was an accountant, and then he got let go, and then his whole entire family then had to live in a van.
Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah,
down, not down by the river.
yeah, and even the writer of Harry Potter, like I heard that she was suicidal, and then the one thing that saved her life, like actually, was writing Harry
Mm.
Potter. And so, yeah, I'm like, say what you want about the franchise itself, but you really got to admit that that's hugely inspirational. I mean, considering that she went from like feeling hopeless and and wanted to end her own life. I mean, that's pretty dark. I mean, to go from that to creating Harry Potter, I mean, that is huge.
One of
And
my
on that topic, like if you think back to 2020 and COVID, how many people clung to art? Like, we watched movies in huge quantities. We made like Bo Burnham's whole thing about 2020 and his stand up about making it in his apartment is a huge cultural like mirror, I think, in my opinion, just to see like we need art. Like we need to create in some aspect or another. Like this whole idea that I know Montana schools are cutting art programs even more so, and it's kind of a big slap in the face when so often we cling to it for hope. Like any of that, creating it, being part of it, being into it is just what gives so much hope to so many people. That huge slap in the face now that they want to like cut more of the programs. So
It is bad.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, and it's and everything because I mean one of my favorite stories too, and there's no it's one of those serious stories for me being a fan of Hollywood and everything. You just hear about it, and I can't really name the research where I heard it, but I just heard the story how Clark Gable, his first appearance on stage, he fell flat on his face.
oh no.
And here they said this is the thing that made Clark Gable Clark Gable. He gets up, breaks the fourth wall on stage, and sits there and says, "Boy, I really fell for that one."
That's hilarious.
Well, because it's like I don't know, and then it's a story I love to hear because it's like, wow, I mean, hey, even Clark Gable has his bad moments. So.
Has his bad moments, but knows how to turn them around.
Oh yeah,
that's from the the old 1950s show. The song "Make 'Em Laugh." Just gotta make them laugh, even if it's laughing at you. Gotta turn it around and control that situation.
Didn't you have something similar when you were when you did that play? They were supposed to shoot
Yeah. So it actually was when I did Let's Get Weird earlier this year. So I was playing the dad, and then the person who was playing my son, ironically, it was a girl playing my son, but hey, I mean, it is what it is. But anyways, so what happened was she was supposed to have a slingshot that was supposed to hit a bird off stage, but even the audience was the audience laughed at it, like how she had the slingshot, but like that ball that she had, it didn't go across the stage. It actually fell right down right in front of her. And then we both had to act like as if it, just went off stage. And yeah, I mean, with acting, especially theater acting, you really gotta learn like how to think on the spot, and yeah, you just gotta go along with it. And speaking of theater, I saw that you recently were in the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes. Actually kind of making people laugh on that. So yeah, the Covalite Theater here in Butte is going through kind of like a renaissance in and of itself. Like they have 3 shows a week now. They're bringing in local artists. They're bringing in bigger shows. And so they're like, hey, let's do Rocky Horror Picture. Like, let's do the Shadow Show. Bigger cities have it. Let's do it. So I got to be part of the inaugural cast for that, which was freaking amazing. But they neglected to tell me that one of the other people that they hired was like just this amazing, like actual Broadway level, like drag actor. And so they come in, and so we had a couple opening numbers, and then I did the usherette, so like the lips, the opening number of the movie. I was the lips, and I was supposed to dance to that. Cool, I'm gonna fake it till I make it. We'll get there and dance. One of the opening numbers was, like I said, this Broadway level drag guy who was up there doing pliés and jumping in heels and stuff that I've maybe dreamt of in my wildest dreams. And so we get there opening night, and he gets on there, and I'm also the MC. So I'm introducing everybody, starting the movie, and playing Columbia at the end. Love my job. And so he gets on, and he does his fantastic dance, standing ovation. And as the MC, I'm like, gee, I'd hate to follow that, and then walk out on stage as the lips. And honestly, the laughter that I got just from admitting that was probably the best thing, because there's no way I could follow that. I did my best, but I cannot dance like that dude, and I just owned it and went with it, and it was fun.
Well, Eric, I know what I would have said if I was there, if the with the whole slingshot thing, I would have sit there and said, "Son, I think you missed. Good job, boy."
That's amazing. Yeah, and it's one of those things where I'm like, Rocky Horror Picture Show to translate to theater, I'm like, that actually does work.
Oh, it does. Like, and it's really fun since it is such a cult show in and of itself, with like the audience participation and like all of the call outs and the participation, that we were on stage, but the movie was playing behind us. And so like we were acting along with it while the movie was playing. And the energy was so electric in there because everyone in the audience already knew the words, everyone knew the dance, like everyone was participating. And it literally just kind of felt like I was on stage being silly while all my friends were there just to watch the movie. And it was so much fun. And we had a sold out show. We had like, there were no even tickets at the door. Like it was sold out before the day of, which has not happened in the Covelites history so far. So that was really kind of cool. I think we're actually starting now a whole troupe. Those of us that were there for Rocky Horror are going to kind of maybe start doing some more like actual local like musicals. So
Do it.
tune for that.
Well,
And yeah, sorry, but as soon as you said about how people were singing along, with you and everyone else, it instantly reminds me of how shortly before COVID, me and my friends would go do karaoke every Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will never forget that I picked Because I Got High, like by Afro Man. And I'll never forget everybody in that karaoke bar sang that song along with me. And it's
Oh,
just, it's a real like it just makes the experience so much more enticing and so much more fun
oh yeah.
when you have everybody in there singing the song along with you.
Yeah, because it's like in that moment, it doesn't matter political differences or view differences. You're all just enjoying that moment and that song, and you're being humans together in that area. And it's just kind of freeing in a way.
Oh yeah, certainly.
that's
Yeah.
that's the one thing is like, I'm like, I don't know, like I just think that, art, I agree, like, art should just be art. People need to just honestly like learn to, I think the biggest problem, especially even with social media right now, is that people just need to learn to shut up sometimes,
Yeah.
Very much so. Or just realize that even though we all think we're fighting different fights, it's all for the same things, different
And
sides of the same coin.
well,
Yeah, and ultimate. Oh, sorry.
there's just the old classic saying, watch your sharp tongue. So
Yep.
But kind of getting back to your karaoke thing, my group of friends and I are trying to start like karaoke nights, like themed karaoke nights at our theater here. So like we can come in and sing Disney songs or come in and sing Broadway songs. And it was kind of hilarious. A few weeks ago, we were at one of our like local kind of a biker bar vibes, like not at all stage kid vibes, not at all theater kid vibes. But one of my girlfriends gets on stage and bursts out with Guns and Ships from Hamilton and nails it, I might add. But not only did she nail it, all of like the biker guys and all of like the, super tatted up, looks like you wouldn't want to cross them in the alleyway, sang along with her. It was amazing. Like all these
Wow.
super drunk, super like biker guys singing Hamilton with a girl on stage rapping. Like it was probably
That's
one of the
amazing.
coolest, like, yes, queen, like moments I've been able to be a part of. It was so fun.
Well, and it's actually a perfect that you mentioned doing karaoke night because it's interesting to say that because I actually do have my own karaoke machine.
Oh, cool. That'd be very fun.
Oh yeah, certainly. I mean, unfortunately, I haven't been able to use it in a while, but I definitely would love to be able to use it again. And it's also funny how you mentioned singing Disney songs because I've made it very clear that Lion King is one of my favorite movies, and honestly, singing "Be Prepared" to karaoke, that's a really really fun song to do at karaoke.
Sure, that would be so cool.
Yeah, especially because I bounce back and forth like between doing the hyenas and Scar at the exact same time, which I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty hard to pull off.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be boastful. I'm just saying like just what happened, and it's one of the things that got me to pursue acting is that one time I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go sing B. I'm gonna go sing B, prepare to karaoke. Everybody, before I went up on stage, nobody was paying attention to me. People were just talking. But then as soon as I started to sing that song, people instantly shut their mouths and their eyes were glued onto me. And then people grabbed out their phones and they were recording me. And then afterwards, I got such a big applause, and people were flooding me with all these compliments, and I'm like, well, I guess I gotta hand it to Jeremy Irons and like for being one of the things that got me to Go give acting a shot, because I was like, okay, if all these people are saying all these positive things about me, then clearly there is something there. So
Oh, that's yeah. When it's not just you telling yourself nice things, but actually like strangers coming up and saying, "Hey, you did really good." It changes your life. That's one of my go-tos is Evanescence. Like I Bring Me to Life is like my go-to karaoke. And I surprise people with that all the time because I don't look like I can sing Amy Lee. Oh, but I can. And when people come up like, "Wow, that was so cool." I ride that high for days, for absolute days.
Oh, and I know exactly how you feel. It's because that when that happened to me at karaoke, I was on that high for a really long time. And it's funny how you mentioned you being a singer, because when I first found you on Facebook, it actually was that picture like of you in black and white, singing.
Oh yeah, my photo shoot. Yeah, thank you. That was a really fun shoot. I actually I wasn't singing in that. That was just a straight up shoot. I have this friend from Ohio who does Taylor Swift Swimo merch. Like he'll take her lyrics, which are very emo, and like make art that goes with it. And so that was actually a shoot to promote some of his merch. So that was kind of cool now that 3 little artists were involved in that, plus a photographer. So four little artists got to be involved in that. That was cool.
Awesome, yeah, and and then seeing that picture like of you in black and white, I feel like it's a full circle moment. I mean, considering that after when I had you on the interview, it's how Ty here found you. And then he said, you know what? She would look really good in black and white. I'm like, well, funny because that's funny. Because that first picture I saw of her actually was in black and white. So
that is kind of a really cool, fun, full circle moment.
It is, yeah. And speaking of,
I must be psychic.
Sorry.
I must be psychic.
Must be.
And funny how I mentioned full circle moments, because with Jeremy Irons and James Earl Jones, I haven't made it on public on Facebook yet, but I mean Ty already knows. So I was so upset, like when James Earl Jones died. I felt like that I missed out, and then I wanted to get my second chance. Now, obviously, it can't be with James Earl Jones, but I'm actually gonna get my second chance, like with Jeremy.
Oh. That's
yeah, I found a way to contact him, through some of my connections, and yeah, Jeremy's actually going to send me a signed picture. So I'm like, second chance, baby, and on top of that,
cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very happy, and it's a full circle moment considering how I sang his song at karaoke. That's one of the things that inspired me. So,
wow.
I'm jealous of your like bravery in that because obviously I have some certain connections too with people that I'd just love to reach out with and be like, hey, you're awesome. But I'm so nervous to even try and do that. Like even with script ideas that I have, I know people that I'd love to act in it or that I'd love to direct or produce, and I'm just way too nervous to even reach out with that part. So thank you for showing me that it can actually go well. So that's very
and I mean, hey, life is way too short, and I mean, heck, if there's things you want to go do, then just go do it. It's because the last thing you want to have happen is that on your last day of life, do you really want to have to reflect back on your life and go, man, I should have done this or that? And I even told you this like during the first time I had you on. Like I wanted to reach out to Jim Carrey. He told me, oh, that will never happen. But I met the right person, and
there it is.
And it happened. So so then when people tell you you can't do it, use that as your motivator to prove them wrong.
Oh yeah, my life motto.
I always tell Eric, you're not James Bond. You don't live twice.
That's true.
So go for it. Go for it.
Fuck it, I'm texting Taylor Swift.
Just basically the best thing to do is, honestly, the best thing you can do is, no does, to an extent, no doesn't mean anything, especially in this industry, I mean, if so many actors would have said no to a certain part, then they would have missed out on something. And like, there's been so many actors that, turned down a certain part and they regret it.
I don't know if I would ever turn down a role unless like there was scheduling conflicts. I'm just too excited to act. Like if I get an offer, I'm taking it for the most part.
Yeah.
I don't turn down a single offer yet.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, go for it. I mean, I now know this from experience, missing out on James Earl Jones. I mean, missed out opportunities, if anything will fuck up your mental health, it is that.
Oh, straight up. I almost missed out on Rocky Horror. I had to miss the actual auditions because my daughter was sick and I was just going to cut that loss. But then I messaged the director. I'm like, hey, I had to miss this, but I'd really still love to audition if you'll have me. And worked out great. So, yeah, you're right. Take the opportunities. Don't let them slip you by.
And who knows? I mean, maybe I hope that, eventually, maybe, I know you're getting a lot of opportunities now, but, if it happens, maybe you could move the family down to, I know Atlanta's a pretty good film opportunity right now. And the even where I live right here in Kansas, I'm crossing my fingers. Kansas is trying to get the tax incentive.
Oh, best of luck.
30,
Yeah.
30% tax incentive for all filmmakers. So,
Damn, that's good. Montana just lost ours. So hopefully we
Oh
can get that.
no, yeah. I actually tried to message you about that, just so that you could join the Montana Media
Oh, yeah.
Coalition.
No, I'm so totally part of that already.
Okay, good. Yeah. Well, I was told that if we didn't get those members by January, well, then we will lose them. I didn't know that we already lost it.
So no, the coalition is like re-getting it. So it was this last season that Gianforte is like, no, we're not going to do that anymore. And so the coalition is starting so that next January, like this coming January, we can go back and be like, actually, no, we want this. Thank you.
well, Kansas is honestly, yes. I mean, we have sporadic weather, but like we have a lot of great days and everything to shoot films and everything. And yes, people always ask, well, what about the tornadoes? I lived in Kansas my whole life. I've seen tornadoes, but they're not as like prevalent as you think. That's more in Texas or Oklahoma. So
See, and then people think that Montana is just so super sweet and innocent. And they come up here and it's -20, and they realize that we're not weak up here. We're not weak.
no, well, from what Eric's told me, Montana seems like a great state to visit. I don't know about to live in,
I'm a Montana girl through and through. I love my hometown, and I think I'll always live here. But it's definitely a goal of mine to travel for work within the next 2 years. Like I've filmed everything so far in Montana. I'd love to get out of the state and film something somewhere else, just for fun.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe it could maybe be a nice opportunity to take Charlton Heston. One of the things that he did for when he was on sets and everything, and outside the country, he even took the family. That was their family vacation.
Yeah. That's my goal. I'd love to get to the point where I can go work somewhere and then bring my family, bring my kids, and like go learn the actual history of that place. Like, shoot, if we go down to Georgia, let's go learn the history of Georgia. Let's go see what museums are around here. Let's see what we can learn from being here. Like, I am all for bringing my family and experiencing life and like learning as much as we can about the world we live in. Again, I love my hometown. I love Montana. I love Butte. I love traveling too. Like it's great to come home. It's great to be able to go see new things.
Oh yeah, certainly. And it also would be nice to be able to get away from the really, really long winters too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to maybe a break this winter. Like I said, -20. It's not fun to film, and I've done it in a corset outside.
That sounds so lovely.
Honestly, like that whole experience, I don't know if that movie is ever going to see the light of day, which is sad, but I got to meet some of like the nicest people. Timothy McMurphy. He's been in like Criminal Minds and all sorts of things like that. I got to work with him in that scene, and it was actually kind of fun. I was playing a hooker at the brothel, typecasting again. But they had like the producers and everyone come up to us beforehand and be like, all right, hey, so like you guys are playing working girls. What do you consent to? Like, are you okay with being touched? Are you okay with being grabbed? Like, are you okay with being kissed? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm good with it, whatever. Like, thank you for asking. That's really kind of cool, but I'm good with it. And we're in the middle of the scene and I'm just standing there being all hookery, and Tim Murphy grabs me and kisses me. And like in character, he's the bad guy and it's all rough. And then as soon as they call cut, he's like, "Was that okay, love? Like, was that okay?" In his very sweet Irish accent. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the most respectful set I've ever been on. Like, it was an experience. But this whole time, again, corset, no cover, -20. Everyone else has on like thick wool coats and everything, and I'm standing out there looking like a hooker. It was awesome.
Well, that just that reminds me of a story. Neil McDonough, like he always plays bad guys and everything. Very just the most ruthless bad guys. Well, he's been married to his wife for years. He was on Desperate Housewives,
Mm-hmm.
and he was not comfortable being in bed with another woman. But here he is playing this ruthless bad guy and everything, and he couldn't work in Hollywood for like 3 years because he got blacklisted because of that. And I'm like, if he's not comfortable being, like, yeah, playing the bad guy, that's fantasy, but he was not comfortable being in bed with another woman. So it's like people
I
like,
can see it.
well,
There's
no,
a difference between acting and reality TV, I guess. So like you gotta respect those boundaries.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I appreciate that director who was doing something like that, because that's just like, you know, you got to have respect for your actors and everything, because if you don't, then
Oh, straight
I
up.
mean,
And no, like I said, having the people that understand that and like made sure of it beforehand made that set so much nicer. Because like he could have very easily grabbed me and kissed me and seen without the consent, and it would have been a little bit weird. But then knowing that he wouldn't do that out of character is even better. Like Tim himself would never do that. I will stand here like I know I've got to work with that man. He is such a sweetheart. He would never do that. As the bad character, oh yeah, hands down. It was like that's what he would do. So it's nice to know that people have the boundaries and can respect the differences.
Oh, certainly. And that reminds me of a situation that happened on the first movie that I ever acted in, Hobbs and Phil versus Zombies. There was a very similar situation that happened where the main character was supposed to kiss the girl at the very end, but the guy's wife didn't feel comfortable with that. I mean, understandably so. And then the director was forced to make a change where they almost kiss, but then one of the main characters and then interferes with it.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, things like that happen. Yeah.
For sure. And like you said, going back to my husband that we talked about earlier and like other spouses not being okay with that. That is the one thing that I had to come with him like 7 years into our marriage and be like, okay, hey, I got this script and I'm supposed to kiss this other person. Like, how do you feel about it? Like, obviously I don't want to do anything to disrespect our marriage, but like this is what they like for me to like, let's have this adult conversation about it. And he was really cool, like really sportive. He's like, it's your job. Like if this is Christy kissing Sam, that's a whole different than Melanie kissing this other guy. I'm like, okay, like I'm glad that we had that conversation. I'm glad we can have those boundaries and understand that, like, as an actor and anyone who's looking to get into it, like, these are conversations you're going to have not only with yourself, but with the people who are in your life. Like,
oh yeah. Well, and I mean, it true. You know, I know a buddy of mine who, a lot of people have said that how, he, people he goes out and everything. People, do check out his wife because she's very good looking. And he said to her, yeah, people can look at her, but she goes home with me. So,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's
and
the
Fair, yeah.
important part.
and it's you said according to your IMDb, you've been married for 10 years. You picked a. He sounds like a really awesome guy. I mean, heck, Eric. I mean, I know he does not in the industry, but heck, we would like. I think I would love to talk to him just because seems like
Oh,
a really awesome guy.
he has gone out of his way to help me with other arty things before. I'm sure he wouldn't mind doing a little bit on how to be a supportive person in the artistic relationship.
He seems like
Yeah.
Like he is
Yeah.
a very good artist with his hands. He draws a lot, and like he's helped me with plays and things before. Like if I needed someone to step in, or like if we didn't have an actor, but like that's not his passion of choice. But he
Right.
pretty much like the Will Smith meme, like incarnate. The one where he's just standing there, like my wife, or even like the Travis Taylor thing after the concert. He's like, look, my girlfriend. That's him. That's my husband, straight up. He is like, I will be on the red carpet looking at you, and it's. Like he should write a book on how to husband. Even my other girlfriends say he needs to write a book on how to husband because he just
Honestly, I mean, sadly, there's not a lot of actual men out there now. He seems like a man.
He is a man. He is
Certainly,
a
yeah.
blue collar, get his hands dirty, support the family, support the wife. He is a good man.
So out of curiosity, I think you might have told me this during the first interview. I can't remember exactly, but how did you two meet again?
Originally in daycare. But Butte's a very small town, so we actually ended up going to daycare for a couple months together. We found out when we were older. We were kind of friends when we were in elementary school. We would like ride bikes together and kind of all of that, but we actually reconnected on Facebook. And he had just moved to Seattle for college. I was still finishing out senior year here in Montana, and we connected on Facebook and did long distance for a year, moved in, and been inseparable ever since day one.
So I guess you could say they, in a way, they were their daycare sweethearts.
Yeah.
I'm totally now. That's we're gonna add that. That's amazing.
That's funny. Yeah.
That should just be on like on a custom T-shirt from both of you, daycare sweethearts.
He's so cool. I should do that. But yeah, he got to like take me to my senior prom and all that, like the cutesy stereotypical stuff. So I got my sweetheart.
Yeah, and I actually just thought of this. I definitely would love to have a part 3 interview with you, and I just thought of this. The third time's a charm. I am definitely not saying that I'm not having a good time now, but what I think would be cool. If it's cool with him, I guess it would be cool if we had him on too at the same time.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I'll definitely talk to him about him. I'm sure he'd be down for that.
Yeah,
okay,
well,
yeah.
Because it sounds like maybe, he should, from all you've told me about him, it seems like he should start a podcast too about like, just how to be a supportive husband and a man, really. Because, nobody, I think young men especially need that right now, because, we all know who they're listening to now, why are they listening to that guy?
Well, like you said, especially like with young males these days, it feels like almost infidelity culture is glamorized. Like you're not supposed to want to be a good man. Like you're not supposed to want to be devoted to someone. Like it's supposed to, like, it makes you seem weak in a way, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. So
yeah,
I like that idea. I'll definitely talk to him about maybe being a public speaker. He has a TikTok with like 22,000 followers.
Oh, wow.
Which is more than me. I'm not a little bitter, but it's kind of cute because all of the videos that he has that has like thousands of views are him and I having Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh pack battles where we'll just pick a random thing of Pokemon cards, and whoever gets like the most rare or like the most expensive card wins. And we have like thousands of views on those videos. It's really fun.
I think
that's awesome.
I think YouTube, honestly, TikTok might be, TikTok might be good now, but I just see that YouTube is still, the YouTube numbers for some people are I think TikTok's going to go away here pretty soon. Within the next, I'm going to say 5-ish years. I'm putting an ish on it, because I could.
What happens?
But YouTube, the numbers are still going strong with YouTube. So,
and it's weird. Like it's hard to be cross-platformal on those. Like I have thousands on my TikTok, but only like 1,300 on my Instagram, which is weird because I post more on Instagram than I do on TikTok. And it's like, how to make the masses like me?
Well, it's
hard.
It's the algorithm for TikTok is different than it is for Instagram and all the meta stuff and YouTube. It's a whole thing, and that's what I was telling Eric here. There's a YouTuber if you really want to get some followers on YouTube. It's this guy. His name is Magnet Media, and he basically broke it down on how to get the views on YouTube.
I was looking at that
with the Mr. Beast formula. I sent it to you. It's how that YouTube is a game video.
Yep.
And it's a very interesting video. Greatly well done. Great. I mean, he does. I mean, shout out, but I think he's doing pretty well. He has like 1 million subscribers, so
Yeah, that's
Mag,
pretty good.
Magnet Media. But he'll like sit there like do documentaries about like business leaders, like he did one of Rockefeller, the guy, Sam Walton, who made Walmart, all sorts of stuff, and like even the one where he was talking about how bananas came to the U.S., where in the South American countries, people actually went to war, and I mean actual war over bananas.
Oh damn, I'm gonna have to watch that for sure.
Really?
Yes.
For bananas?
You could say that's kind of bananas. Right, I had to get one in. It's been like over an hour.
No,
but no, he went to.
God, that's hilarious.
Well, because there's different companies that were the top banana leaders in the U.S. and they knew that the U.S. was the big economy, so they were actually like going to war over to be the top banana brand for the U.S. And then it's just like what, like I mean, when I say war, it's like people were literally fighting each other.
That's insane. Oh my god.
Like, I mean, I like bananas, but to go to war over bananas.
Suddenly, like Gwen Stefani song plays over and over again.
Wow, I mean, I've heard of people starting fights over really petty reasons, but over bananas, I'm never gonna forget about that.
No, that's hilarious.
That is so petty.
Well, it's just it's that whole thing, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and people when they have money opportunities, people do insane stuff for money. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, money talks.
Wow.
And bullshit walks.
Yep.
For sure.
But
definitely. Wow. Wow.
Kind of just stuck on banana war now.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to process all that, and
I think it's driving him bananas.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think that's dumb, one time Ty told me about how there's tornado deniers. Well, that sure ended in a twist.
Yeah, no,
Podcast is just puns.
I got told that being in Kansas that 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 tornadoes never existed, and that this was the stereotypical conspiracy, or like this red dot connects to this red dot, this and like we've all seen the movies. He sits there and says that the government makes tornadoes.
That is so absurd.
Focus on other things.
Well, I mean,
that's absurd. Oh, sorry.
Well, I'm just like, well, that's just kind of like, yeah. I'll be sure to tell that to somebody that just survived a tornado.
But yeah, if you think that's absurd, in 2018, I met somebody who said the Earth is flat because football doesn't exist, and that all football players are just holograms in a big conspiracy to deceive people.
I mean, there are some out there that kind of make sense, but then there are those ones that are just no.
Yeah, like the football argument.
Yeah, football doesn't exist. I've touched a football a time or two. I can verify their existence.
Yeah, and then that same person also said that penguins don't exist and that they're all just robots programmed by the government, so therefore the Earth is flat.
Well, I always love the flat Earth arguments because like some of them are just so absurdly stupid. Like, I'm gonna, honestly, sorry, Eric, I'm gonna give him a D shout out. There's this UFC fighter. Maybe you got hit in the head too many times. His name is Bryce Mitchell. He said that he can conduct an experiment to prove the Earth is flat. He wants to get in the middle of the equator, fly a helicopter, and then shut off the helicopter. And then he said he'll float. Like, okay, if that happens, why don't you do that and see what happens?
Yeah, just go ahead and step out of the helicopter. That makes sense.
Yeah. Just stop the helicopter and see what happens. And if you, we'll see what happens to you.
I mean, science is there for a reason. Like, this is a scientific method. You have a
And
hypothesis, test it.
And then, this is the same guy who sits there and says, "Oh, well, you can't walk off the edge of the Earth because the in 1961 they said you can't walk to this point in Antarctica. All the superpowers agreed." I'm like, really? So you're talking to me at the peak of the Cold War, the U.S. and Russia, and those are really the main superpowers at that time. I mean, yeah, China was kind of becoming one, but not really. They all agreed that you can't walk past this point. Right.
Out of everything to agree on.
Yes, and there's that saying in Wayne's World, and monkeys are going to come out of my butt.
Freaking love Wayne's World.
But no, I mean there are some conspiracy theories I believe in, like the obviously kind of fascinated a little bit with the JFK situation. I mean, because that gun was a faulty. That Pacific model that he had, it's a pretty accurate gun, but it actually had a faulty trigger. So, and keep in mind, it's also the moving target, and bullets don't curve like that. That's why we have the magic bullet theory, and like we're talking and keep in mind, Lee Harvey Oswald was a marksman, not an expert marksman. And like there's some of the people who are the top marksmen in the world who can't even make that shot. So
interesting. I've never heard any of that.
I never did either. And but yeah, me personally, I don't know if I believe any conspiracy theories. I guess it just depends. The plausibility of it. I mean, some of them are more absurd, like the football thing, the Penguins thing. I mean, I really hope that was just satire.
well,
I really truly hope so.
well, didn't that turn out to be Kenny who said that, or was that a different one?
Oh yeah. There was this troll like who used to bother us named Kenny, who was a supposed flat earther, and yeah, they said a lot of really stupid stuff. But it turned out that they were just a the entire time. Like how they said that Dragon Ball Z disproves gravity because how can the characters be floating to show up gravity is real? I'm like, okay, when you say something that stupid,
yeah, that's just poking.
There is no way. Like there is no way that somebody is that dumb.
Dragon Ball Z also proves then that we're all animated.
Yeah, I guess so.
Love it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I wish I could Kamehameha some people.
Yeah. I'll agree that Dragon Ball Z proves that Dragon Ball Z or that Dragon Ball GT doesn't exist. I mean, that's the one I'm okay with.
Well, I mean, hopefully, I would just hope that her kiddos don't do anything like that. Start trolling people on the internet because
my babies are so sweet. I actually had my son's parent teacher conference last weekend, and all his teachers said is that he's just the sweetest little boy. I'm like, I know, he's the best. He is the best. He's got to be in Sundance, so that works.
Yeah. Well, hey, and I mean, just knowing that people are saying, that amount of good things about your son, and I mean, you should feel very, very happy about that. So.
Oh, I do. Like, there are two things I'm proud about in my life: my family and my acting, and they're both doing pretty good right now. So
awesome.
Who knows? Maybe. Well, Eric, we all know you're probably gonna, with your whole Lion King thing. I mean, it seems like they should have just given your Tony already, or even Oscar. But who knows? Maybe I'll ask Melanie this one. What's your Oscar speech?
I've had that written since I was like 6, and you'll just have to hear it when I win it.
Okay, awesome. Well, I mean, seeing how talented that you are, it's not a matter of if it will happen. It's when it will happen.
Oh yeah, that's what I keep telling myself.
Uh-huh.
Honestly though, like as much as like Oscar has been a dream since I was a kid. In fact, like my parents got me a little mini Oscar when my first movie came out, which is hiding somewhere right now. But at this point, I think it'd be so cool to win an actual SAG award, like to have your actual other SAG actors vote you as like best up
Oh
and
yeah.
coming. Whatever. Like that seems like that would be so cool. Like I want to win at least 2, like Oscar
Well,
and a SAG. I'm good.
um, well, who knows? Maybe you can. Maybe you can just win them all.
I mean, just be like,
Emmy, Emmy, Tony. Uh, you know,
go for it. I don't know if I have Grammy in my future, but I'll definitely go for a
I
Tony.
mean, well,
MTV Movie Award, right?
yeah,
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 we'll try that. Get the
yeah,
Nickelodeon Kids Choice Award somehow. I'm down for that. I'll take
Maybe,
time.
maybe you'll host it.
Shoot, I'll do whatever. I'm down. I don't
yeah.
know.
And I mean, yeah, and I mean to all that, I say no one's gonna believe in you until you believe in yourself. And I
Oh,
mean, as long as you believe that you can achieve it, and as long as you set your mind to it, you absolutely can.
well, thank you. I definitely believe I should. I
Well,
shall do that then.
see. Well, no, I mean, it's just one of those things that I mean, I wrote mine because it was an assignment in school. I'll say it, mine, even though I've said it before in the podcast, but it was funny. And keep in mind, like I was in high school, so I said, I would like to thank my friends and family, my lovely wife Megan Fox,
Dragon Fox. Nice.
and I have in parentheses, look directly into main camera. And to those who said that this will never happen, na 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 na, I won an Oscar.
I want an Oscar.
But look, break that fourth wall. Is I have it look directly into
Oh, yeah,
the main camera.
that one. Look directly at it. That's kind of
Uh,
been like the weird thing is since being like somewhat successful as a Montana actress, I have had more people from high school tell me that like I'm an inspiration than they have made fun of me. So that's kind of nice.
Yes, and
Kinda cool.
yeah, and I mean, just knowing that must make you feel good about yourself.
Oh, it makes me feel good, but it also makes me feel like one of these days we're all gonna figure out that I've just been pretending and I can't actually act and everyone's been lying to me. Like again, imposter syndrome's a bitch.
I
But
don't.
like I like it. I like feeling an inspiration. I just hope I don't let anyone down.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think you. I mean, you. Like I said, you. I told Eric that, dude, she has that old Hollywood look and everything. Like you said, you should be in a. I agree. I mean, you should be in a noir. And
Oh shoot,
which,
let's take one.
um,
Well, when it's
yeah,
funny, it's because we talked about doing Dracula versus Frankenstein. Like
Right.
we have been really, trying to battle. Okay, are we going to do it in black and white, or are we going to do it in color? But ultimately, we
we just
both decide. Okay, we'll do a compromise, and we'll have like one version in black and white, and we'll do one in color.
That sounds
well,
good. Honestly, whenever I think Frankenstein and Dracula, I just feel black and white. Like, give me the Gene
well,
Wilder Young Frankenstein. Like, give me that black and white feel.
I,
It's so good.
I'll well, I mean, we were talking about casting her as one of the brides.
I'll be cast. I'll take it.
All right, and then Eric, we don't want to say who we want as the monster yet, but with her probably being a fan of Broadway, why don't you type in the private chat who?
Ooh, yes.
Well, it's not as the Frankenstein monster, but as Dracula, because we want to find somebody as close to Bela Lugosi as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought of somebody who's close enough because they have those eyes. I mean, we would have to have them wear like a prosthetic nose, but hey, I mean, do what you got to do.
I mean, yeah, it's
And
art.
then the actor who we have casted as the monster, we Guinness Book World Record should actually be funding the movie. We cast the tallest actor ever to play the monster.
Oh, that's so cool.
7'7".
At
That is so cool.
local actor in Kansas. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. Oh
private.
wow.
Okay, yeah, Melanie, check the private chat.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
But yeah, I mean, him as the Count, especially the
Oh yeah.
Lugosi version, so
Oh yeah, I'd be down for that for sure.
he would be
And
perfect.
Yes, he would be. That would be really good. I can see that already. Wow. Oh yeah, I
And
did not see it.
yes,
Van
so
Helsing.
well, I mean,
I'm down for that.
so yeah, we're hoping.
Or Van Helsing.
You know, I know this is like completely random, but we were talking Young Frankenstein and Gene Wilder. I'm blanking on his name, but the guy in the bear. You know what I'm talking about? I'm
I think
totally.
so.
He looks like Gene Wilder, just a baby, and he should just have a cameo somewhere in there, just pop up, be like, "And I'm Gene Wilder." Like,
Yeah. Certainly, yeah.
why am I blanking out? Jeremy Allen White. How did I freaking forget that? He looks identical to Gene Wilder, in my opinion.
Huh.
Okay, well, it definitely could be a cool callback, to Young Frankenstein.
Just for those of us nerds, no.
Yeah,
Well,
and I mean, since both me and Ty, know Sarah Karloff and Lynn Lugosi, uh, we even have been wanting to get them like to have cameos in it, which
Yeah,
and
that
I,
would be.
would make sense.
It would be, yeah, just have little cameos there. Like, I love Easter eggs in movies, or like when directors and writers understand that people have seen other movies too and like kind of want to be in on things.
mhm.
I love those.
But no, um, no. I just told him that like to keep in mind, like these characters have been in the public domain for however many years, and
Mm-hmm.
A
it's like,
long time, and I mean, even Frankenstein was already in the public domain when they made the 1931 Boris Karloff movie.
mm-hmm,
So that's how long Frankenstein's been in the public domain. It's just that the original Karloff movie is about to go public domain. And out of all versions of Frankenstein, it's that version that comes to people's minds.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's the most well known, the most public domain. Like that's
Okay.
never gonna be used.
Okay, yeah. And yeah, Melanie, I saw your message. I'm in. So yeah, we can wrap things up. But yeah, I guess Um, is there any upcoming projects that you want to plug in, and what's some life advice that you want to give?
Oh, so definitely keep an eye out for Lana Turner's Eyes. It's gonna be making the short circuit here pretty soon. I'll get as soon as I get more information on that, it'll be on my Facebook for sure. There is one that I just did called Where the Wind Blows that I don't know when it's gonna be out, but it has a lot of Montana cast, but then it has Michelle Hurd's back in it. See Tommy Walker's in it, and so is of course I'm terrible on names. The guy from 90210. Like,
Okay.
yeah, McDreamy. He is in it. So,
Dempsey.
yeah, that one's gonna be really fun. That one should be out. I probably either late 25 or early 26. But I'm gonna say it again. I'll keep saying it. Somewhere in Montana, January 10th. It's gonna have nationwide release. It is back to cinematography and just making things look as gorgeous as they are in real life. Like they make Montana look as beautiful as it is. Like the Flathead Valley, Polson area, like it's so gorgeous. And kind of going back a little to what we were talking about earlier with the political differences and everything. I don't care left, right, middle, black, white, red, or blue. This is a movie everyone needs to see. Like it kind of takes all of those tensions that we all kind of feel, especially around election time, and
Yeah.
puts into light how unimportant it really is. Like we're all human, we're all people, we're all living on this earth together and part of this human experience together, and looking for ways to fight and looking for things to not agree on is just a waste of our precious life.
It
And
is.
this
It
is
really, truly is.
it really is. And honestly, like even if I weren't in this movie, I would try and press it as hard as I am because it is a beautiful piece of art. It's a piece of cinema. It is a message that everyone needs to hear. Like I'm gonna give it to Brandon. I'm gonna give it to Eden and Graham and Michelle and Tasha and Kaylee and just everyone who had a hand into it. Like that is a message that was hard to give,
Oh, I can imagine.
and the way that like they all put it together so beautifully that I foresee this movie outlasting a lot of us, and I'm very excited to see where it goes for that. And as far as life advice, honestly, you're gonna hear no, you're gonna hear the negative stuff, but if anyone's gonna be your number one supporter, it should be you. And if that means taking 10 minutes in the morning in the mirror to tell yourself you're the baddest bitch out there, then so be it. Like, believe in yourself, believe in you, and the universe will come through with you. So
awesome.
Hey.
Well,
awesome. Well, yeah. I certainly do appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here. And it also was great. But yeah, and it also was great. Would like to have Ty back.
It was lovely meeting with you and speaking with you. I hope that this is just the first in many adventures we have.
Yes, well, I hope so. So, anyway, see y'all next time, and I'll come back for event episodes, and she's definitely an event to have on the podcast. So
I will see if my husband wants to come tell how to be a husband. So,
there you go.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye.
All righty. Have a fantastic day.
You too.